One Taeju is running through the woods as if his entire life depends on it, and honestly, it really does. To anyone watching, it might look like some intense marathon. But the reality is far worse. Armed soldiers are hunting him through the thick forest. And he has absolutely no clue why they are after him or what he did wrong. He is handsome enough, sure, but he lacks that shredded physique you expect from an action lead. To make matters worse, he actually holds the rank of a second lieutenant. You would think an officer would at least have a somewhat fit body, right? Instead, Taeju is gasping for air, dragging his weak body forward as he struggles. It feels like he is going to collapse onto the dirt at any moment now. And to make this even more unfair, he is battling a severe heart disease. By the time he finally reaches the tree line, his limits are completely shattered. He coughs up blood, his vision spins, and a painful seizure takes hold of him. Looking back with exhausted eyes, he sees the squad surrounding him, led by Lieutenant Indong. Right at the edge of death, Taeju squeezes out enough strength to speak. He finally asks the one burning question that has been eating at him, why? But instead of giving a straight answer, that smug bastard just sneers at him. The commander mocks Taeju, calling him a useless rejector who should have died years ago. Apparently, surviving for 29 years was just an annoyance to a certain powerful woman. That woman is Hona Mitsui, his own stepmother, and she wants him dead. Before Taeju can even process the betrayal, the glasses-wearing lieutenant draws his sword. He swings the blade with cold indifference, not even trying to hide his malice. It is a simple, basic strike that Taeju could have avoided with any stamina left. But in his broken state, he takes the blade straight to the chest. The sword pierces his heart, and he collapses as his life fades away. With Taeju out of the way, Hona Mitsui's children become the sole heirs. They inherit the massive Paju estate, but the world was not always this brutal. Long ago, it was completely normal and boring, with absolutely no magic or powers. Everything changed in the year 2026, when a massive solar eclipse struck. Raw mana flooded the earth, and civilization collapsed into pure chaos almost instantly. Over 90% of humanity simply vanished overnight. It is almost as if some cruel creator wanted to test their survival. The remaining survivors eventually adapted to the mana and rebuilt their societies. But that is exactly when things started to get incredibly dangerous. Demonic beasts emerged, and even ordinary plants mutated into deadly poisons. The world was no longer boring, it became a brutal survival game. A new era of endless war began, establishing a ruthless social hierarchy. Strength was measured entirely by mana, and right at the very bottom. That is where Taeju sits. Meanwhile, his father is Brigadier Wang Bang. He is an elite awakened master, a man genuinely built different. Naturally, that makes his weak son look incredibly pathetic. Although he is the eldest, Taeju cannot wield mana at all. Instead, his own body rejects the energy, slowly poisoning him from within. Because of this, he is labeled a mana rejector, a total death sentence. But as we know, the most pathetic protagonists always get lucky. Just look at Jin-woo, and this is where his real story begins. Another miracle is about to unfold. Plummeting down, he lands in a bizarre realm. He survives, no bloody forest floor for him, instead an old man waits there. It is almost like this strange place was waiting for his arrival. The senior is Gun Ak, an absolute master of poisons and hidden weapons. Back when the dark cult tried to take over, he dissolved their leader. He used a splash of toxic water and instantly ruled the martial world. Now, you might wonder why we are suddenly looking at this dead legend. It turns out this ancient master and our boy actually share the same soul. During the master's final training, their spirits somehow became permanently linked. The second their eyes meet, a flood of memories bursts forth. Centuries of martial secrets rush into Taejun's mind, and the connection goes both ways. The elder sees everything our boy suffered and realizes how cruel his life was. Taejun was treated like absolute garbage just for being labeled a complete rejector. Realizing they are meeting in a mental space, the master makes a decision. He hands over all his power and tells him to rise above his tormentors. He commands the kid to rise above everyone and rule his own world. With that, Taejun enters a deep transformation as a new power ignites. He wakes up on the forest floor, realizing the master's memories are fully intact. This legendary knowledge is exactly what he needs to rise from the absolute bottom. Ignoring his broken bones, he drags himself forward with one goal in mind. To conquer his world, he must walk the path of the ultimate poison master. His first step is mastering the legendary Hyun-won Undying poison spirit art. He crawls toward toxic weeds and swallows them, ignoring the putrid, bitter taste. His body breaks down the toxins, turning raw poison into pure internal energy. Deep inside his core, he begins shaping a highly concentrated poison essence. This allows him to restructure his physically weak body from the inside out. A freezing cold anger settles in his chest. It is time for payback. And the very first person on his hit list is that annoying Four Eyes lieutenant. Meanwhile, the Four Eyes lieutenant makes his subordinates search the dark woods. They expect a cold corpse but find Taeju sitting perfectly upright. He is actively meditating, completely ignoring the fact that he was supposed to die. The sight makes their skin crawl as an ominous aura leaks from him. It feels deeply cursed, and they freeze in absolute shock as they watch. They detect a massive wave of energy, but this is not normal mana. He is actually building pure internal energy from his deadly poison essence. That is the most terrifying part. A rejector should never be able to do this. People like him are fundamentally locked out of using any kind of magic. Panicking at the sight, the Four Eyes lieutenant gives a frantic order. He screams at his men to put him down before he fully wakes. A lackey lunges forward with a dagger, but Taeju easily swats the attack aside. He feels the warm rush of internal energy flowing right into his fist. That single action tells him everything. The poison master's power is truly his now. Before leaving this forest, he plans to slaughter these fools, starting with Undying. The lieutenant laughs in his face, refusing to believe this garbage has actually awakened. There is no awakening crest on his face, which usually determines their rank. When an ability user awakens, a rank crest is supposed to appear on their face. Meanwhile, that four-eyed Undying is just a beginner, so he is nothing special. That is why Taeju has the sheer audacity to look him dead in the eye. He casually asks the guy for his last words before pulling coins into his hands. As energy charges up Taeju's body, Undying gets completely annoyed by his attitude. He orders his men to rush forward. They must finish him for good. Strangely, Taeju feels completely calm. This is his very first real battle. It is likely because the memories of that ancient, rusty old master are active. Those memories carry the battle experience of over 1,000,000 years. Without wasting a single second, he fires several coins at his attackers. The shots tear straight through their skulls, leaving perfectly clean holes behind. They exit the other side as if it were the easiest thing in the world. But he is not done. Using mirage steps, he dances around Undying. He closes the distance in a flash and drives a powerful, charged punch. It lands straight into Undying's guts, launching him away like a volleyball. Only one subordinate is left standing, and somehow the idiot still has hope. But his movements are incredibly slow. Taeju drops him in under a second. Then Taeju calmly walks up to Undying, who is lying on the ground. He is in complete denial, unable to comprehend how a rejector can use skills. For the first time in forever, Taeju stands over someone with total confidence. He calmly asks Undying how it feels to be on the receiving end. The pathetic guy instantly breaks down, crying as he begs for his life. Talk about his pride getting completely deleted in real time. He tries to save himself by shouting that he is backed by Lady Mitsui. Taeju is not impressed by that threat though, not even a single bit. He grabs him by the neck, squeezes, it is over in seconds. Leaving the body behind, he makes it fresh bait for wolves. Standing there completely unfazed, Taeju makes it clear he is done taking orders. Right now he looks absolutely unhinged, dangerous but incredibly cool. It is quite a look for someone who literally just woke up from the dead. His hometown, Taeju, is part of the massive Samhain Empire. This nation was formed after the Mana Cataclysm merged Korea, China, and Japan. Back in the capital, a man reports these events to Taeju's father. He explains Taeju was targeted for assassination during a mission. Undying and his squad cornered him, right near the steep cliffs. But somehow, Taeju survived the attack and disappeared afterward. Meanwhile, Undying and his men were reportedly killed by wild monsters. The quick investigation reveals something even more sinister about the attack. This hit was not random, as it was requested by high-ranking officers. The moment the father hears this, his expression changes completely. He immediately figures out the mastermind behind the plot is Lady Mitsui. She is an influential noble's daughter and the mother of Taeju's half-brothers. Her goal was always to eliminate Taeju so her sons inherit everything. This time, she lost all patience and took extreme measures. She requested elite assassins from her family in the Kyushu kingdom to end him. Even knowing all of that, Taeju's father is absolutely no saint. Instead of reacting with anger, he coldly calculates that Taeju was going to die anyway, so he could have just waited a little longer. He knows the situation is dead serious. But Paju territory is in a pretty fragile spot, relying heavily on the support of his wife's powerful family. Because of that, he decides to sweep things under the rug. To him, Mitsui definitely crossed the line, but her children are still the future heirs of his land. So, in his mind, it is better to overlook everything rather than cause problems over someone he already considers a dead man, in a twisted way. He convinces himself that he will never see his son again. He doesn't even plan to search for him, thinking it's better to let Taeju live whatever time he has left in complete freedom before his clock runs out. Our boy is starting his journey to become the strongest man alive. He reaches the edge of a valley and from there he finally gets his first full view of the city of Gyuri, and the sight instantly pulls him in. The entire place looks unreal, almost like something straight out of a fantasy postcard. It's his first time seeing anything like this, and yeah, it hits totally different. Right then, an old man with a Johnny Depp-style beard walks up to him and realizes it's Taeju's first time seeing the city, and just like every annoying professor who cannot read the room, he immediately starts yapping. He goes on to explain that 300 years ago, Gyuri was nothing more than a small town in the Republic of Korea, but everything changed after it got annexed into the Samhain Empire. The place was constantly overrun by demonic beasts, so the empire turned it into a base and declared it a free city. From there, they introduced all kinds of benefits, including tax exemptions on demonic beast byproducts, and even permission for certain illegal activities. That is how Gyuri slowly turned into a massive hub, now producing over 20% of the empire's demonic beast byproducts. In other words, this place prints money. If you know what you're doing, people can earn insane amounts here and become millionaires, basically going from zero to someone like Mr. Beast or Bill Gates if things go right. The potential is absolutely crazy. Unfortunately, our guy is not exactly built for lectures, so most of that information just flies right over his head, proving he is a clueless protagonist with insane power that he might show us in the future. He still politely thanks the old man, though, assuming he is just being helpful. A little while ago, after leaving his hometown, Taeju searched for a place where he could grow stronger without being tracked. That is when he found Gyuri. The empire barely keeps control here, making it the perfect place to stay hidden. On top of that, the region is packed with venomous beasts and toxic herbs, making it an ideal training ground for someone like him. In a weird way, he even acknowledges that this opportunity exists because of his stepmother, since she pushed him to the brink of death, leading him to meet that soul from another world. That moment changed everything. For now, he plans to work as a porter while secretly training and building his strength step by step. It is not flashy, but it gets the job done. At the moment, he is already part of a group working with them as a porter. Suddenly, that same old man points out a girl named this is Hyun-won, a professional awakener and a highly skilled swordswoman. Apparently, she is also the absolute strongest fighter on this entire squad. She stands out immediately, being the only stunning beauty among all these sweaty guys. But our main character has zero interest in romance and is barely paying attention. Instead, he senses something strange, noticing that her internal mana is incredibly shaky. That weird energy flow is the only thing that actually grabs his focus. Soon, he realizes she is not just looking flushed, she is burning up with a high fever. The cause is a three-striped mosquito, a tiny bug packing some seriously lethal venom. A single bite from this creature sends her entire system into absolute chaos. She collapses. Instantly, the entire party goes on complete high alert. They treat this little bug like it is some legendary dungeon boss. Everyone treads lightly to avoid getting stung, while a fierce red-haired girl steps forward. She unleashes a massive fireball, trying to completely erase that mosquito from existence. Our boy just stands there. He is completely baffled by their extreme reaction. Why are they all panicking over a tiny, ordinary-looking bug? The old man quickly warns him that this is no ordinary forest pest. One bite temporarily drains all your mana, leaving you completely defenseless. Whole parties have been wiped out by just one of these things. Honestly, keeping your cool here makes you either a genius or totally insane. And our guy is definitely leaning much more toward that second option. Suddenly, he remembers old man Gunnock's teachings, recognizing a specific poison matching her symptoms. Hoping to confirm his theory with his poison spirit art, he takes action. He quickly places his hand on her abdomen to trace the toxic energy. It is a pretty convenient excuse to get close to the pretty swordswoman. But as he checks the energy flow, he suddenly freezes up. Something feels off. Is it nerves or is it her? Meanwhile, another fighter begins trembling from the oppressive, toxic atmosphere around them. He begs the group leader to turn back before things get even worse. Right on cue, rustling noises echo from the nearby bushes, putting everyone on edge. But instead of some giant beast, out hops a harmless little rabbit. A single tiny bunny just absolutely terrified a group of seasoned warriors. They breathe a sigh of relief and prepare to retreat, but they are too late. Out of nowhere, massive ogres crash through the tree line, swinging their heavy weapons. They instantly crush several allies before anyone can even react to the ambush. Everything devolves into pure chaos. Sensing the danger, the red-haired fighter steps forward. She commands the survivors to flee while she holds the line alone. She knows she is the only one strong enough to buy them precious time. Meanwhile, our guy is still calmly holding onto the unconscious Hyun-won. He casually tells the old man to start running and get to safety. He promises to stay behind to help, though his true motives remain a bit mysterious. First, he carefully lifts the passed-out girl to hand her over. He slings her over the old man's shoulders, ensuring they can make a clean escape. But as they flee, he spots something highly unusual about these beasts. They are marching in a tight formation, as if taking coordinated orders. Meanwhile, the red-haired fighter goes completely all out, showing off some truly incredible skills. Myualina Vermilion fires off a blazing lance, incinerating her foes. Multiple massive ogres fall instantly, yet somehow one swift beast slips right past her. It charges straight for the helpless porters, but she reacts in a flash. A towering wall of flame erupts, completely blocking its path. She feels secure. It holds, or so she thinks. Out of nowhere, another monster appears. The beast looms right behind her. Blind to the threat, she has no clue. She has no way to react, none, but the focus shifts now. Instead of her savior leaping in, the camera cuts to Old Man Gunnock. Believe it or not, he actually ascended straight to the immortal realm. This is the dream destination of every legendary grandmaster, reached by sharing a soul with Taeju. Gaining modern knowledge from Earth showed him the true path to cross over. He made it, but living that dream, he low-key regrets it. Turns out this legendary paradise is just a massive playground of absolute chaos. It is filled with ancient geezers acting like toddlers, throwing punches for nothing. They crack skulls all day long with zero discipline and zero ethics. Just endless brawling with infinite lifespans. Still, Gunnock tries to adapt. Chilling out, he looks on the bright side. His mind wanders. He thinks of Taeju. They share a soul, yet their fates diverged. Gunnock mastered supreme martial arts. Taeju only knew misery and pain. Still, he hopes the boy grows strong fast. Specifically, the seventh star of the primordial formless poison spirit art. Only that level can crush the spectral masters residing within the boy's memories. He wishes to meet him again, but first he must forge new styles. Something worthy to teach him. Suddenly, his peaceful meditation is shattered. Another ancient geezer suddenly strikes at his skull, mocking him for ignoring swordsmanship. The very same Gunnock who was just judging others instantly loses his temper. He dives straight into the senseless brawl, throwing fists like the rest. Yep, even a legendary master cannot escape the stupidity of this realm. Back on Earth, just as the beast is about to crush the red-haired warrior, our boy rushes in, pushing her violently out of danger. No time to waste, he readies his weapon and unleashes his technique. He fires a volley of coins, every single shot hits home. The metal pieces pierce right through the ogres, dropping them instantly. In seconds, the clash is over, even he is stunned by this. He knows this terrifying power comes directly from that ancient soul within. Even so, showing off is a bad idea, keeping quiet is. Far more important, he holds his breath trying to look normal. After all, a mere porter with no crest wiping out monsters is bizarre. People would ask questions. To deflect them, he quickly abandons the hero pose. Instead, he drops to his knees, frantically searching the mud for his coins. It is a hilarious sight. He technically sits on stacks of wealth. Yet unable to buy a decent sword, he uses spare change as ammo. As he carefully gathers them up, he suddenly realizes one piece is missing. He scans the damp grass. There it is, buried in wood. It is lodged deep in a tree trunk. He reaches out. A familiar buzz rings out nearby. That three-striped mosquito is back. It hovers around like it owns the place, without hesitation. He snatches it right out of the air and lets it bite him. This is the exact same pest that bit the burning hot girl earlier. Now, he gets to analyze its toxic venom directly. As it spreads, his internal energy scatters, breaking the flow inside his body. That is when it clicks. This sensation is identical to the energy scattering poison from his past life. Except in this modern world, there is absolutely no known antidote for it. For anyone else, that is a death sentence. For him, it is pure profit. Tapping into the old demon's memories, he immediately starts scheming. He can easily recreate the antidote using local herbs. The moment that realization hits, a borderline insane grin spreads across his face. Total money glitch. And then he does something even crazier. Watch what he does next. He decides the fastest way to analyze the venom is to taste it. Without a second thought, he pops the bug in and swallows it. Remarkably, it works. From the taste and reaction, he confirms the compound details. They match his expectations. Crafting a cure is completely possible. The moment he realizes this, he can practically smell the incoming cash. This is no longer just about survival. It is a straight path to getting rich. But before he can plan his spending, reality comes crashing back down. A heavy presence approaches, making the very ground beneath him shudder. Looking up, he finally sees it. The massive ogre boss has arrived, and just like that, the real battle begins. The beast suddenly speaks in human tongue. Growling out a death threat that catches Taeju completely off guard, he realizes this is no ordinary monster. This is an awakened magical beast, an elite. A legend he had only heard stories about. Suddenly, nothing makes sense anymore. Those toxic mosquitoes were not supposed to be on this mountain. The ordinary ogres were out of place, but this elite beast is madness. What is actually happening up here? Without warning, the monster swings its massive weapon, sending a devastating slash tearing through the trees. Taeju barely leaps back just in time. If he was a second slower, he would have been sliced clean in half, meeting an end just like Satoru Gojo. He realizes this monstrous opponent is far stronger than any beast before. Still, he tests his luck, hurling several coins using his single flash. But the elite is protected by a crackling electric shield. The coins are instantly vaporized, turning his hard-earned cash into absolute nothingness. Taeju desperately needs a real weapon, or he is going to be wiped out. Fighting like this is just burning precious resources for absolutely zero gain. Yet he does not seem worried at all. Suddenly, the massive elite lets out a deafening growl, snapping him back. He realizes he has been hesitating. And that hesitation deeply irritates him. If the old demon master saw this, it would be pure embarrassment. He steadies his breath, gathering his internal power, and charges straight ahead with a single goal. No matter what stands in his way, he will crush it. He activates his newest skill, Iron Poison, and rushes forward. The name sounds sketchy, but the deadly intent behind it is not quite. The monster swings its giant axe, and Taeju meets the strike with a heavy punch. The brutal impact rattles the earth, sending shockwaves echoing through the area. Unbelievable, dust settles and both fighters are still standing. The monster's giant body shows zero damage, while Taeju stares it down. No hesitation, he gears up to finish this fight no matter what. Before he can strike, a stylish stranger suddenly steps onto the battlefield. With insane speed, he cuts right through the giant beast. Absolute butcher, he shreds the beast into pieces in a split second. The monster simply collapses, completely destroyed in the blink of an eye. Pure dread, Taeju instantly feels the heavy pressure change in the air. A true master has arrived. now he has to figure out an explanation. The warrior glares down at him, demanding to know how he survived. How did a boy without an active mark defeat a whole pack of ogres? Taeju freezes. This man is clearly on a whole different level. He treads carefully, offering a polite word of thanks for the rescue. But before Taeju can explain further, the old merchant from his group rushes over. Classic NPC, the elder runs straight for the luggage instead of checking on Taeju. He asks if the goods are ruined, totally neglecting the exhausted boy. Cargo is safe. Taeju points directly to the man who saved him. The old man's companions immediately bow, addressing the stylish swordsman as Jong-hak. They beg for forgiveness for their delay, while the elder whispers to Taeju. Gyuri is independent. The council rules here instead of the royal family. That means the imperial family has zero authority here, and Jong-hak rules. He holds one of the 3 executive votes on the city's powerful council. An absolute beast, he is a master rank Awakener leading their security guild. Because humble porters rely on this guild, they have to show absolute respect. The elder forces Taeju to bow deeply and express his deepest gratitude. Taeju obeys. He bows, introducing himself as a simple newcomer to Gyuri. Jong-hak stares him down, asking if he killed the monsters alone. Taeju quickly shakes his head, claiming a mere porter could never survive that. Pure lies. He claims the battle mage did all the heavy lifting. He claims the mage collapsed from severe mana exhaustion right after the fight. It is a convenient excuse, and it keeps him off the master's radar. Good timing, the other guild guards return to report on the survivors. They confirm the area is secure and the cleanup crew has arrived. Before departing, the guild leader turns back to give a final threat. A cold warning: stay out of trouble if you want to stay alive. If they meet again under suspicious circumstances, he will leave in a body bag. Once the guards leave, the old merchant warns Taeju to stay far away. A total fraud, Jong-hak takes massive bribes and looks the other way. He regularly lines his pockets with dirty money and ignores local crimes. The master only takes these patrols to boast and boost his public image. Clearly, the old guy excels at gossiping behind people's backs. He keeps complaining without holding back, revealing how he found the captain. He simply ran into the guild leader by pure luck while searching for help. Called for backup instead, but this is only the beginning. Our guy is about to form a pretty wild relationship with this handsome companion. With that business finished, they prepare to pack up their valuable gear and get out before more trouble shows up, especially the dangerous kind like a powerful beast or an angry master. It is like those moments when reality suddenly smacks a person with all their past failures and our handsome fighter starts to break down a bit. The heavy thought sinks in that if Giulio had not arrived in time, he would be a corpse right now. That truth hits harder than any physical blow. He begins questioning everything he has even accomplished up until now. Soon, he reaches a painful but clear conclusion: he had just been too arrogant after surviving his fate as a rejector, playing the part of someone who was completely invincible just because he defeated an awakened fighter once. Looking back on it, he feels deeply ashamed, especially toward the ancient soul inside him. That pride was not strength, it was just pure recklessness. Right then, he makes a silent promise to himself: things are going to change and he is going to grow powerful for real this time. Honestly, this painful wake-up call was necessary. It cuts away his ego and drags him back to the real world, forcing him to stand on the ground instead of floating too high. Garai has decent infrastructure, but proper medical centers are almost non-existent. The risk here is too high, so real physicians stay far away, leaving only fake doctors who fled from their own problems. In other places, of course, those frauds are not trustworthy. Because of this, pharmacies and small drugstores have taken over. Now, pharmacists are allowed to distribute treatments officially certified by the Empire's Ministry of Food and Drug Safety or the Autonomous Committee, making them way more reliable than any shady local clinic. This is precisely why our main character shows up. He plans to pitch a cure for the mutated 3-striped mosquito. He spends several days hustling to make money, gathering rare herbs during his off hours, and practicing his combat skills under the moonlight. Brewing this cure requires reaching the 3rd tier of his poison spirit technique, and through that grueling training, he actually hits his goal. Now he feels entirely sure he won't be pushed around by anyone anymore. Stepping inside a busy drugstore, he boldly announces that he has a rare product to offer and demands to speak with the owner. A stubborn old man steps forward, introduces himself as Hong Pio, and grumpily tells him to talk. Our protagonist explains he is there to sell a special formula he created, but Hong Pio already looks totally sick of hearing the same pitch from random amateurs, so he brushes him off completely and tells him to find real work at the labor market. Instead, while the old man keeps rambling, our hero calmly drops a single line, revealing that he has the cure for the dreaded three-striped mosquito. That one phrase makes Hong Pio turn around on a dime. Lindsay Man then reveals a small vial and explains that the liquid is drank and functions as a preventative shield. He even notes that its incredible protection lasts up to 10 hours. Hearing that, Hong Pio snaps and calls it absolute garbage, shouting that if Taeju wants to pull off a scam, he should make it sound realistic. Through it all, Taeju remains unfazed. He quietly sets 2 vials of the remedy on the counter and leaves his number, telling them to run some tests and call him if they want to talk business. They have exactly until midnight tonight to decide. With that, he turns around and departs. While everyone inside remains stunned, Jinsu, built like a tank, picks up the antidote bottle and looks right at Hong Pio, asking if he actually believes that kid. The old man just glares back with a tired, disappointed look and hands the bottle over, saying they will find out once they test it. He has absolutely zero expectations, considering even the largest pharmaceutical companies have failed to make an antidote for that mosquito. Still, Taeju's extreme confidence keeps bothering him for some strange reason. While he is lost in thought, Jinsu casually drinks the antidote without thinking twice, which instantly annoys Hong Pio. Jinsu shrugs and says it tastes like plain water. He adds that if it were real, his body would feel some kind of reaction. So that kid was probably just another common scammer. With that, he moves on and prepares his gear for the hunt. Meanwhile, the old man tosses the remaining bottle and Taeju's contact card straight into a basket, clearly not expecting much from it, but trust me on this matter is far from over. Out in the field, Jinsu heads out with his teammate for the hunt, where things quickly turn bad. A blade-toothed marten appears out of nowhere in an area where it should not even exist. Jinsu raises his shield to block its attacks while his teammate clears the rear and urges him to retreat immediately. She is already poisoned by the mosquito venom and will soon be paralyzed if they do not move. Jinsu tells her they will fall back the very second he deals with this beast in front of them, but before he can finish it, those nightmare mosquitoes start swarming around him, invading his space and pushing his heart rate up. If he gets poisoned too, the entire party is finished. At the same time, he feels his shield weakening. That alone makes him suspect that he may have already been poisoned. Everything starts piling up. He has to question where things went wrong. It is like his entire world is suddenly crumbling with absolutely nowhere to go. They came prepared with bug-proof suits because this area is known for those mutant mosquitoes, yet the blade-tooth marten showed up completely out nowhere, as if it was placed there on purpose. The creature tore through their suits in an instant, and right after that, the mosquitoes attacked them in massive groups. It almost feels like both threats were working together. Jinsu and his team try to retreat, but the marten blocks their path, completely cutting off their escape and pushing them closer to death. Now it is just him holding those monsters back on his own. While he is already imagining his own painful death, his teammate snaps him out of it, warning him about the deadly incoming attack. The blade-tooth marten crashes straight through his shield and shatters it completely. Yet, something feels strange because he does not feel any loss of strength even after getting bitten, and that is when it finally clicks. This is all actually because of that guy they brushed off as a scammer. He steadies himself and charges forward, testing his theory. Instead of collapsing, his body holds up, and that alone proves the antidote is real. Later that night, he storms back into the store alive and breathing, and immediately asks the old man for the price, declaring that he wants to buy every single bottle available. Meanwhile, Taeju is walking through the lively and bustling Gare market, which is overflowing with activity, unlike the poor territory of Paju where he grew up. This is his first time experiencing such a massive, lively place. Honestly, he is pretty glad he took a day off to create those antidotes he had to reach 3-star poison mastery. that demanded having total, absolute control over his inner energy to safely draw out elements from medicinal and toxic herbs. But pushing his limits to get there definitely came with a heavy cost, the strain of using that high-tier poison purification skill left him needing a moment to stabilize and heal up. Right around then, Hampyo approaches him with a massive business deal to buy up his entire stock, explaining that this miracle cure could completely revolutionize how hunters fight those dangerous monsters. Yui stays totally calm and listens while casually aura farming. Asked about his stock, he calmly reveals that 60,000 bottles are already fully prepared, and production can easily scale up if needed. Hampyo then pulls out a contract showing that each bottle will retail for 50,000 won with a base cost of 10,000 won, plus Hampyo will personally handle all the official approvals and patent matters. Taeju reviews the terms and quickly runs the math. 60,000 bottles would make 3 billion won, minus a 10% tax, bringing it down to about 2.7 billion. An absolute fortune, right? Taeju makes a bold decision. He agrees to supply the antidote exclusively for 1 year, setting the price at 35,000 won per bottle. Hearing that the old man runs an orphanage using pharmacy profits and is known as the father of all orphans, Taeju wants to help him out. In return, he only requests a private workspace to make his antidotes. The old man cannot contain his sheer joy, and a massive grin spreads all over his adorable face. They quickly shake hands and lock in the official contract. With the down payment secured, Taeju heads straight into the market to grab equipment and enjoy a break. He strolls through the busy streets with messy hair covering his eyes. Like a mysterious villain scoping out the area, suddenly a massive bald guy with a buff body and a chest like Sydney Sweeney appears, starting to strike hilariously dramatic pop poses. Taeju instantly feels Yui staring right at him, but the blacksmith eagerly invites him to check out some weapons. Taeju tries to slip away, but the muscular smith quickly switches tactics since his charm offensive failed and drags him toward the shop like they are in a forced romance drama. The second Taeju steps inside, his jaw completely drops. The entire shop is stacked with elite top-tier weapons. Seriously, this is why you never judge a book by its cover. Recognizing that this eccentric blacksmith really knows his craft, Taeju places an order for 100 flying willow daggers. The bald smith examines the request and explains he must use rare mana steel to ensure the daggers deal real damage when thrown. He confirms he can craft them, but since materials are scarce, it will take some time. Taeju is perfectly fine with that and asks for the price, since the smith is clearly down bad. He calculates the total, quoting him around 250 million won, even. After offering a generous discount, Taeju secretly sweats hearing that massive price for just 100 throwing knives, but he keeps his cool and agrees to pay the full sum up front. With the weapon order finalized, he leaves and starts thinking about his gear to carry poison and throwing daggers completely undetected, almost like he is on an elite ninja mission. A custom long coat would be perfect. He even imagines himself walking around in a stylish kimono, making everyone turn their heads. Somehow, even a random guy turns around and starts simping, creating instant, awkward tension. He gets incredibly embarrassed and instantly drops the idea. Time to face reality. While wandering around, he tries finding something practical when a maid suddenly stops him. She invites him into her high-end boutique, mentioning they just got new stock. A fresh line of demonic beast leather armor is on display today. Taeju thinks it sounds reasonable, but we all know the real draw here. Leather armor is definitely not the only reason people flock to this shop. Our female lead makes her grand entrance, standing on a double-decker boat. She and her assistant gaze up at a massive, stunning fantasy castle. The breathtaking sight is so grand it makes any ordinary royal palace look small. It feels as though the entire city is directly flexing its immense wealth right at them. Her confident assistant starts explaining the rules of this exclusive place. Ordinary folks cannot enter, only elite guests with heavy pockets get access. Even the transit is restricted to boats, but Yan Hui is completely unimpressed. As a military academy cadet, she is not swayed by flashy things. She stands there with a completely cool, neutral expression, remaining entirely unfazed. Instead of dreaming of a royal invitation, she keeps a straight face. Her total lack of interest completely kills her assistant's upbeat excitement. The assistant quickly shifts gears, asking if she truly came all this way. Did she really come here just to buy a fox fur coat? Yan Hui sets her straight. This is extremely rare Siberian phantom fox fur. The material is incredibly hard to find and nearly impossible to hunt. She explains that armor made from that leather offers top-tier defensive power. It keeps a fighter cool during boiling summers and perfectly warm in freezing winters. It is the perfect mix of luxury and utility, earning praise from her assistant. She is quickly reminded that her wealthy grandfather gave her an unlimited black card. The old man wants her to spend freely, but she remains independent. She has plenty of her own cash and refuses to rely on anyone. Soon, they finally arrive at the high-end boutique to inspect the actual item. The interior feels incredibly premium, with wealth practically dripping from the walls. Meanwhile, our main guy walks into the boutique searching for demonic beast hide. He spots the two ladies checking out the exact same phantom coat. So yes, it is blindingly obvious they are all hunting for the exact same prize. A tense, awkward standoff is about to unfold between them right now. The salesperson serving the ladies turns around to greet the new customer. And this is where things get incredibly interesting for our clueless hero. It is the gorgeous, red-haired fighter, and she recognizes him right on the spot. Our boy just stands there totally blank, absolutely zero memories are loading. Even after looking directly at her, he still cannot connect the dots. She reminds him that they fought side by side during that brutal orc raid. A spark of recognition finally hits his thick skull as she explains everything. She works at the boutique full-time, only hunting monsters on the side. She is genuinely thrilled to see him, but he is breaking a sweat. He is sweating bullets. Honestly, is it pressure or is she just too hot? Either way, he starts plotting a quiet, very fast escape from there. You see, he gave her all the credit for slaying those orcs back then, so he could keep a low profile in Guri. He always figured the truth would surface eventually, but he never expected it to hit like this. But as he turns to slip away, she grabs his hand and stops him dead. In his tracks, totally wrecking his escape. Are we getting a romantic moment here? She looks him in the eye and asks if he was the one who saved her. Back then, apparently the Negodin Guild had asked if she was the one who killed those orcs and passed out from mana drain. She knew something was off even then, so she played along to protect him, guessing there was a good reason. Now she stands there waiting, demanding a real answer, and our guy realizes there is absolutely no easy way out of this. He tries a quick lie, asking how a simple porter could ever defeat vicious monsters, but she instantly cuts him off before he can even finish his sentence. She does not know why he saved her, but thanks to him, she was able to retrieve the bodies of her leader and her boyfriend. Yes, guys, she is taken. She is shaking so hard she can barely stand, yet she still thanks him with her whole heart. And our guy suddenly has absolutely no idea how to handle something so incredibly heavy. Sure, he saved lives back then, but he also knows he had some pretty selfish motives. Just wanting to test his combat skills. Because of that, he feels guilty being thanked so sincerely, like he does not completely deserve her warmth. After a quiet moment, the red-haired merchant slowly pulls herself together, realizing she is making her savior feel incredibly awkward, right at that exact second. The obnoxious assistant storms in entirely furious. Why were they kept waiting? The red-haired merchant immediately turns around, bows politely and apologizes, saying she cannot sell the coat that Hyun-won picked out. That annoying assistant immediately starts nagging her, complaining about her refusing to sell the item at the very last second, but the merchant calmly explains that the coat was reserved, promising to compensate for the trouble out of her own pocket. Surprisingly, Hyun-won does not act like some wealthy snobbish brat who thinks she is some famous pop star. She calmly accepts the apology before turning to leave behind the beautiful coat she clearly wanted. Meanwhile, her assistant is still fuming with rage and looks nowhere near ready to let this go, seeing the red-haired merchant in trouble. Our guy steps up and asks why she refused to sell the coat in the first place. In response, she asks if people ever tell him he is completely oblivious. Honestly, that is exactly what we have been screaming for ages. This man is incredibly dense and oblivious, but somehow this is his first time hearing it. Then the merchant finally explains she wanted to repay her debt to him with that silver fox fur coat. our protagonist immediately refuses, saying he cannot accept it because his motives were not pure back then, and he only happened to rescue her during the chaos. She simply shakes her head and tells him that intentions do not matter because the truth is still the truth and he saved her. She adds that if it really weighs on his mind, then he should just save more lives from now on. Our guy has never received this kind of gratitude before, only criticism, cold looks, and hateful glares. All those staring eyes, so even if the moment feels incredibly heavy and burdensome, a part of him feels strangely pleased at the exact same time. Ultimately, he takes the coat, feeling pretty grateful for it before the scene shifts to the immortal world where this bored old soul named Dongbin is currently analyzing everything around him to kill time. The same with those flowing white robes and long white beards. The sole difference is their hair. One guy rocks a single strand, while another flaunts two, but old man Dang Gunak is built completely different. His incredibly unique style really stands out in a realm packed with copy-paste grandpas. Sometimes he rolls up in flashy sugar daddy outfits, styling his hair like he is about to go out and bag some immortal ladies. Naturally, Dongbin gets curious and decides to pay Gunak a visit, hoping to learn tailoring and pass the boring time. A fun way, plus being crazy with a partner is way better than instead of slowly losing his mind all alone in this giant empty place. To make things a bit more interesting, he grabs a rare heavenly peach, planning to use it as a bargaining chip. He is convinced that showing this to Gunak will finally convince the old man to teach him how to make clothes. Now, looks like a simple peach, but in a world like this there is definitely something special about it. Let us see how that goes. Meanwhile, back in the real world, Taeju is locked deep inside the orphanage basement, working non-stop, brewing up antidotes like a guy who has completely forgotten what sunlight looks like. Suddenly, old man Beek Hunko calls and Taeju reports that the pure solution is almost finished. The old geezer sounds happy for 2 seconds before immediately demanding another batch, which almost sends our poor boy into cardiac. Wait, seriously, another batch? He literally just shipped one out yesterday. And these desperate buyers are already lining up like they are waiting for a hyped sneaker release. Hong Pyo then breaks the good or honestly exhausting news. Rumors of the cure have spread and desperate people are swarming the clinic. Honestly, their lives actually depend on getting a bottle. Everyone is scrambling to grab this god-tier item before the sold-out sign goes right back up. If anyone even tries to cut in line, fists are going to fly. Our clever Taeju immediately tells the old man to put out an official a notice. He needs to promise a steady supply and cap purchases at 2 bottles max. He is not letting this turn into a bloody battle royal. While Hong Pyo fully understands the brilliant strategy, he also quickly points out that cheap knockoff versions are bound to hit the streets pretty fast, especially since that scarcity vibe is basically their entire brand now. But Taeju simply says they will just make another medicine, looking calm while knowing full well that is total nonsense. Nobody else can ever hope to recreate this formula without some cheat code system from another world. Next, he urgently asks Hong Pyo when the packaging machinery is arriving, because manually packing everything is taking way longer than actually making the medicine itself. They still have a massive mountain of empty bottles waiting for them. Taeju has not even been back to his dorm for an entire week, essentially living like in this cellar like a trapped prisoner. Hong Pyo promises to hurry up. A pack of kids are loudly arguing about a ghost inside their secret orphanage base. One terrified little girl is shaking, swearing she saw a phantom hiding right in the room. But this one loudmouthed kid, overflowing with teenage confidence, insists it is probably just a beggar, some random squatter chilling in their hideout, and he boasts that he is going to kick him out. Young Thoru honestly thinks this is his big hero origin moment. Then the door suddenly swings open. Out steps a shirtless guy covered in grime and radiating an absolute aura of death. He is wearing this utterly unhinged smile. Instantly the kids freeze up as cold sweat hits them. They scream and bolt right out of there, their souls practically leaving their bodies behind. Too bad for them, this terrifying phantom is actually just our handsome main character. Taeju has been stuck in that cramped basement for a solid week packaging cheap bottles. Right now, he smells exactly like someone who fought a brutal war against soap and lost. To make things worse, the weird mustached old man just called him in for a shift. He needs a porter for the team, so Taeju figures he should at least try to wash up first. Arriving like this would absolutely traumatize the entire squad, so a bath is a non-negotiable step. Right then, a gorgeous girl arrives, none other than Hong Pyo's daughter. The two terrified kids immediately hide behind her like she is some kind of invincible shield. Honestly, they did not bring her down here just to show off the gloomy basement. They basically summoned her to throw some punches at the scary ghost. She eyes Taeju and asks if he is the worker helping her father, Hong Kyu. Once he puts the pieces together, she introduces herself as Baek Sayon from the orphanage. Apparently, the kids have been crying nonstop about some phantom creeping in the dark. So she came down to investigate, and she is holding a pretty heavy wooden box. Inside are those prototype weapons Taeju ordered from that strange bald blacksmith. Our boy offers a soft, genuine smile and thanks, and wow, that hit surprisingly hard. Saeon acts all tough and stoic, but underneath she is still a regular young girl. She quickly turns her head away, her face flushing a deep, bright crimson. Talk about an absolute system overheat. Before walking away, she speaks up. She tells him to go wash up on the first floor before he dares go anywhere. Basically, even she can tell he smells like a dungeon raid gone horribly wrong. The moment she is gone, Taeju opens that wooden box like a kid at Christmas. Right there on top sits a small note, and reading it deals immediate emotional damage. It says, "Honey, it is a prototype, so try it out and let me know." Our boy can literally picture that bald creep blowing him a wet, dramatic kiss. The mental image is so cursed he instantly rips the paper to shreds. Like it insulted his entire bloodline, after surviving that mental attack. He finally inspects the weapons and finds them to be incredibly solid work. This is exactly the superb quality he needed, since the daggers are this good. He is getting seriously excited about that protective coat. The girl offered it free. But Taeju is determined to pay her back once he starts pulling in real cash. He might be completely broke right now, but the man still has some pride. Later on, he treks up the mountains where the expedition group is waiting. He apologizes for the delay, but the mustached old man quickly waves it off. He actually thanks Taeju for showing up, especially since they called him at the last second. Sadly, the piece lasts for exactly 3 seconds before a massive meathead starts talking. This clown is completely offended that a lowly, weak porter dares to look so calm. He shows up late and has the absolute nerve to act comfortable around everyone. Demanding a full apology, acting like Taeju committed some major national crime. This loudmouth is Wonjun, a snobbish meathead with a face so dog-like he might actually start barking. Honestly, the resemblance is pretty uncanny. Thankfully, Taeju is not one of those spineless pretty boys who just stands there taking a beating. He fires right back, pointing out that he arrived exactly on time, so why should he apologize? That response makes Wonjun lose his absolute mind, looking ready to pop a major vein. Explode right there. Too bad for him, Taeju has leveled up as well and he is ready to break a bone or two if this clown keeps pushing him. At this rate, Taeju finally gets why everyone else avoids this guy. His temper is so trash it probably scares away mosquitoes, but the old man steps in to de-escalate, begging Taeju to tolerate the nonsense for now. Swallowing his pride, our guy grits his teeth and lets it go. He mutters an apology, and the squad finally moves into the dungeon. Taeju quickly counts the squad, only 7 people, 7 and these guys. Honestly think they can clear a high-level boss raid with this tiny lineup. Taeju is not even scared, he just looks deeply confused, like walking into a group project where nobody studied. He straight up asks if this is it. Are they really going in with these numbers? He knows party sizes are shrinking lately thanks to the mosquito antidote meta, but this is ridiculous. This is not confidence, this is just straight up complete delusion. Naturally, Wonjun spins around like someone slammed his anger button again. He snaps at Taeju, demanding to know if he has some sort of death wish. Taeju stays cool, saying he is just looking out for the porters. If things look too risky, he is out. Simple, logical, too bad for him. Logic does not work on low-intelligence rage builds. Wonjun loses it completely, spitting threats and calling him a dead man walking who talks too much. He even draws his sword like he is about to slice Taeju down. Before things go south, the team leader Dongseok steps in with that same smug energy as Wonjun, just with a leader title. He stops his Attack dog warning Taeju to watch his mouth, or he will end up as premium beast food. He casually walks off with Wonjun, still throwing shade like it is second nature. Honestly, at this point, Taeju is ready to absolutely lose his mind. The sheer killing intent rolling off him is so sharp, it feels like a real Jinwoo moment is about to drop. The old man apologizes for dragging him into this mess, but Taeju just waves it off and asks again. Are they really sticking with this tiny squad? The old man explains that their hunting ground is the Blade Martin zone. Before, they needed full parties because poisonous mosquitoes turned the place into a total nightmare, but now, thanks to Taeju's antidote, they can run smaller squads. Even so, the old man admits he is still pretty nervous, but since they have two beginner fighters, things should be completely fine. That shit is doing some heavy lifting though. He then hands Taeju a separate antidote bought just for him. Taeju takes it with a grin, and for a split second, he feels completely different, stronger. Not just physically, but mentally. He realizes he is the actual reason this situation even started changing. That power is shifting his mind too, ever since he met those hunters. He has already flashed bloodlust twice, which is completely unlike him. That dark influence clearly stems from the absolute poison demon, Dang Gunak. That monster's true nature leans toward wiping out anything he hates instead of letting things slide. Now that their souls are linked, that brutal mindset is slowly bleeding right into Taeju. Surprisingly, this is not even a bad thing. If anything, it is why he can finally stand his ground instead of folding. Then he stops, dead silent. Out of nowhere, he tells old man to stay close during the dungeon raid. Something feels off for a while. Now he has been sensing something deep in the woods. It is not just danger, it is pure heavy bloodlust focused and locked straight onto them. One thing is absolutely clear, that heavy and menacing aura definitely does not belong to any basic Blade Martin. Those clowns are completely overconfident about it. No, this is different. At this point, it is only a matter of time before a very brutal reality hits them like a truck. When that happens, those arrogant fools are going to get humbled hard. Now let us switch gears to the Murim world, where things are already going completely south. The Jujin clan is literally burning, with wild flames spreading everywhere, complete and utter chaos, right in the middle of all that madness. A young Dang Gunak is running an absolute rampage. To make things even more disrespectful, he is casually gliding through the brutal battlefield while cornering the clan leader, Jujin Chun. Yes, the infamous Thunder Demon himself. That scary title sounds terrifying. Honestly, seeing a legend get pressed like a weak side character is wild. The actual reason behind this entire bloody massacre is simple. They got caught selling their souls to the demonic cult, but Chun is still in complete denial, claiming they were framed, as if anyone believes that. Meanwhile, Dang Gunak is not even listening. He is already 10 steps ahead. With a simple flick of his hand, he sends multiple knives floating in midair, patiently waiting for his command, all aimed straight at Chun. Then, to seal his fate, he reveals his son's corpse and drops the truth. He caught the kid red-handed, slaughtering innocents for blood gems, so he decided to deliver the body back to his father. Personally, that is not just justice, it is pure emotional damage. Dang Gunak then makes it clear he has absolutely zero tolerance for cowards who hide behind the weak to save themselves. It completely disgusts him. The moment Chun realizes his dark secret is fully out in the open, the Thunder Demon immediately drops his pride and switches to begging. Cowering in fear, he pleads for mercy and offers to spill everything about the heavenly demon, desperately hoping that saves his life. But Dang Gunak is not some soft hero who listens to pathetic speeches and spares lives. He does not negotiate with absolute trash. Still calm, he launches every single knife with lethal force, sending them flying straight through Chun, ending him on the spot. The Thunder Demon is finished. The demon is sent straight to hell, with Gunak casually noting the heavenly demon can join him soon. Talk about an elite group booking. Back on Earth, Wonjun and his squad have already cleared out several Blade Martins easily. Warm-up done. Wonjun grabs a glowing energy crystal and immediately starts running, his mouth mocking Taeju for doubting their skills earlier. The guy literally asks if the rookie got his answer yet. Seriously, the audacity is unreal. Taeju does everything in his power to keep a cool head right now. Snapping would give them too much satisfaction, but here is the real joke. They only pulled this off because his custom antidote carried their entire raid. Without his help, they would be folded faster than cheap laundry. Instead of losing it, he quietly suppresses his dark killing intent. Why? Because he refuses to dirty his sharp new blades on pathetic weaklings. Just 2 non-awakeners and 3 mana accumulators took down those beasts. It sounds impressive on paper, until you remember they used his cheat item. Still, Taeju is not even looking at them. Something else has his attention. Something much bigger. He knows exactly what is coming next in these woods. If these fools think they are safe now, a brutal awakening is coming. Taeju leans in toward the old porter and whispers to stay very close. The real show starts now. Right on cue, a massive red-furred wolf steps. Out from the dark, Hampio freezes, feeling his soul almost leave his body. But Taeju remains completely relaxed, handing over his heavy bag like a host. Starting a live demonstration, he is not worried about the wolf's power. What actually bothers him is their habit of hunting in pairs, and on cue. While they stare at the first, a second wolf leaps out from behind. One guy gets snatched instantly, cleanly turned into a quick, bloody meal. Nobody can even react. Hyun-won desperately swings his sword with thin, weak arms. The beast easily reads the clumsy attack and sidesteps it with ease. Panic spreads like wildfire. He turns to their captain, begging for any orders. But their so-called leader is already running away like a coward. He flees with his tail tucked, leaving his own girlfriend behind to get cooked. Seeing this, Hyun-won pulls his classic move, using the helpless porter as bait. Same cheap tactic, same garbage mind. Honestly, you can't make this trash up. Taeju finally steps in. He draws his dual daggers and throws them instantly. The silver flash is so fast it looks completely unreal. The blade slices forward, closely grazing the ears of both Hyun-won and Dongseok before slamming deep into the stone behind them. Not a missed attack, just a warning shot. He speaks, his tone terrifyingly quiet. He looks at Hyun-won and calls him out for deserting his own squad, then stares down Dongseok for throwing the weakest to the monsters just to survive. He delivers that same freezing line, saying he absolutely hates scum who use human shields to save themselves. At this point, the dark aura is fully unleashed. He sounds exactly like his mentor Gunnak. The old porter is gasping, realizing one wolf is already dead. No one even saw the strike. Meanwhile, the second predator growls in defiance, trying to look tough, but Taeju shuts that down instantly. He warns the beast, take one more single step and your life is over. Zero hesitation and definitely no second chances. Taeju is already in a terrible mood as he turns. He looks right at the team, demanding to know if this is how they always handle tight spots. Just tossing the weak aside and hoping for a miracle, Hyun-won does not even look ashamed. He actually doubles down, scoffing that weaklings are only meant to die for actual awakeners. That arrogant speech says everything you need to know about how this kid was raised. Too bad for him, Taeju is not the defenseless little porter he used to be. He leaps up the mountain slope, instantly flipping the entire situation on them. He calmly tells them to handle this wolf alone, letting them feel true helplessness for once. He gets comfortable on the rocks, perfectly happy to just sit back and watch the show. One of the girls completely loses it, frantically begging Taeju to kill the beast. She offers to pay whatever price he wants, but he shuts that down without a thought. A dagger flies down, landing right in front of her as a silent warning. He coldly reminds them that he is just their porter, while they are the big shot fighters. They were so confident a second ago, now it is time to prove it or get crushed. Hyun-won refuses to drop his massive ego. Screaming, he charges forward. He thinks he is about to easily slaughter the beast, but the wolf is way faster. One brutal swipe of the wolf's claws, and his head is instantly severed. It goes rolling across the grass in a shocking, sudden execution. Talk about instant karma, that loud pride lasted exactly 1 second. He is still clutching his bleeding ear, screaming threats up at Taeju. He vows to kill him, completely forgetting there is a real monster right in front of him. The wolf steps in silently, and in a single moment his fate is sealed. His head is torn right off, no speech, no drama, just absolute deletion. Only the 2 girls are left standing. They never actively hurt Taeju. But they also just stood by and watched when things were going completely wrong. Silence has a price in this place. Taeju watches coldly as the beast strikes. It finishes them off just like the rest, swift and absolutely merciless. With the party wiped out, the wolf turns toward the trembling old man. He is shaking so violently he can barely stand. That is when Taeju finally moves. If the beast had simply left after cleaning up the trash, he would have spared it. But now this creature has gotten way too bold for its own good. Charging down, he focuses a violent, swirling green light right into his palm. It feels like it is tearing the very air apart before he slams it into the wolf. The force of the impact is absolutely massive, shaking the entire forest. For a split second, the monster is illuminated before being completely vaporized. The old man just stares in total disbelief. He never saw a crest on this porter. He assumed Taeju was a mere candidate, but this power belongs to a monster. In an instant, everything clicks, the devastating attack on the orcs earlier. That was Taeju too. The guy has been hiding his ridiculous strength this whole time. Having finally let off some steam, Taeju calmly walks back over. The terrified old man drops to his knees, desperately begging for his life. Taeju just sighs, telling him to relax since he has no plans to kill him. He even casually asks the old man if he got injured during the fight. The old man shakes his head so rapidly it looks painful. Then Taeju speaks up. He asks for a small favor, but his icy tone makes it clear it is a demand. Anything seen here stays buried. The old man understands. No hesitation, he values his life way too much to fail. Taeju walks away, leaving the bodies behind for the dark forest to claim. He did not slay them himself, but he let them perish without regret. In his eyes, cowards who betray others to survive do not deserve to live. They were never making it out alive. Meanwhile, at UJ Pharmacy, things are crashing fast. A board gathers to address a massive drop in sales, and the owner of Nuri Drugstore is practically weeping over the losses. Profits slashed in half since Kim Taeju joined forces with VX Drug Shop. They flooded the market with that antidote, and now everyone is rushing to VX to clear out the shelves, grabbing whatever else they can buy. Meanwhile, the industry giants are sitting in a closed meeting looking completely stressed. The boss of New Horizon is there, a man controlling 70% of the market. Chun Wang holds the rest, yet even with that massive monopoly they are sweating. Nobody can touch the VX store because of a powerful autonomous committee protecting Hunpyo, all because he regularly feeds a group of orphan kids. That single act of kindness just turned into an absolute defensive shield. The CEO of UJ Pharmacy, Hyun-won, steps in to calm the panicked room. He reveals they are in the same boat, failing to copy that antidote. The other giants quickly admit defeat. Nobody has cracked the formula. And now they are stuck watching their massive profits bleed dry. Since the committee blocks direct moves, Hyun-won decides to use their old methods. That line alone gets Gilho, the heavyset owner, grinning from ear to ear. They are about to play dirty. Hyun-won pulls up his file. He displays Taeju's full file, laying out every single piece of his past. He is the eldest son of Brigadier General Kim Won-bang from Paju. A former military officer now discharged, his father is a master. But Taeju himself is labeled a complete mana rejector. He only enlisted after getting kicked out of his own home by his family. His biological mother is long gone, replaced by stepmother Mitsui Honda. Worse, his two stepbrothers reportedly want him dead. They want him gone. This guy cut all ties and got thrown into the world empty-handed. Hyun-won suggests they approach Taeju directly with an offer he cannot refuse. If they pay more than Hunpyo, they can steal those distribution rights. Classic corporate takeover. If he refuses, they will handle it the dark way. No explanation needed. Everyone in that room already knows the drill. While these businessmen hatch a plan, another major player enters the board. At Jirisan, the commander of the Monster Defense Corps, Jin Hyung, makes his move. He receives a detailed report on Taeju, confirming his mana rejector status. And his discharge from the CRX unit. The name rings a bell. He remembers when the military tried to buy supplies from him before. Back then, they got rejected because of imperial trade restrictions in Garai. They had to walk away empty-handed back then, but things are entirely different now. Taeju, being the son of a high-ranking general, opens up an unexpected path. Securing his antidote could finally launch their massive campaign. A massive purge before the Judasan wave hits. That changes everything. Jin Hyung moves fast. He immediately orders his men to Contact the Paju territory and get Brigadier General Kim on the line. Either way, Taeju is getting dragged into a much larger game. Soon, Jin Hyung reaches out to Taeju's father, laying out every single detail of the situation. Leaving nothing out, as usual, the stepmother reacts with her usual bitter attitude, muttering that even a slowpoke can have some talent. Then she has the nerve to call him our Taeju. She immediately decides to book tickets to Garai. She wants to confront him, thinking he is still a naive kid who will get scammed out there, but his father instantly shuts her down. He reminds her they kicked him out of the family, and he is no longer their son. She keeps arguing, but he puts her in her place, telling her to stop right now if she has any shred of conscience left. So, yeah, looks like there is still a tiny spark of fatherly guilt hiding somewhere in him, even if it showed up late. Hearing this, Mitsuri freezes. She panics. Did he somehow find out about the assassination attempt? But she quickly calms down. The killers she sent are already dead. There is nothing to worry about, no evidence left behind now. Instead, she shifts tactics and starts pushing her real agenda, telling him to call Taeju and demand he supply the antidote to the military. She adds that this deal would easily secure his next big promotion, asking how long her father will support that struggling Paju estate, or rather the Hongju estate. His father remains calm, flatly refusing. He will not crawl back and beg his own son for anything. If she wants that antidote, she can deal with Taeju herself. That answer completely sets her off. She storms out in silence, barely holding her rage in. Once she is gone, he lets out a long, heavy sigh. Deep down, he had already accepted that Taeju was dead. Now, knowing he is alive and thriving, something inside him softens. He hides it, but those warm feelings remain. Meanwhile, our guy heads back to the boutique to grab his coat. Visits the boutique. His custom coat is finally ready, and the result is clean. The moment he puts it on, he looks breathtakingly sharp, showing a face card that could rival Climb Moretti. He checks the coat and finds it is not just about looks. It actually has high defense and automatic temperature control. Plus, those multiple hidden pockets are absolutely perfect for concealing his daggers. The red-haired owner watches him closely, quietly guessing his class. With that many weapons, he must be some weapon-focused awakener. Our man just flashes a fake smile and plays along. Explaining the actual truth would only bring on a massive headache. When he asks for the bill, she refuses to take his money. But he insists, knowing she gave him someone else's reserved order. She waves it off. Everything has already been handled behind the scenes. She simply called Young Hui and sent her a different item instead. Yun Erpuki pauses, clearly not used to someone so honest. Instead of complaining, Taeju points to another item in the shop and decides to buy it. He says it will make a great gift for the kids at the orphanage. This way, it boosts her sales too, ensuring he pays her back in the end. It is just not the kind of payback she ever expected, but after our protagonist insists, she agrees to sell it, realizing he is a very different kind of awakener, a rare good one compared to all the trash she dealt with before. Just as she leaves, Han-seo-wook, the CEO of UJ Pharmacy, suddenly barges in. He claims he has been looking for Taeju, instantly acting as if they are close. This uninvited guest, knowing so much about him, immediately makes our boy highly cautious. Taeju asks what brought him here and how he even managed to track him down. The man smugly brags that there is absolutely nothing his powerful association does not know. It is a creepy response that would make anyone's skin crawl. Then the man finally opens his eyes, glares threateningly, and without wasting a single second, demands that Taeju supply the mosquito antidote to his pharmacy too, but our boy shuts him down immediately, refusing without even trying to be polite. Han-seo-wook keeps pressing him, offering a bulk supply price that is 3 times higher than Bay's drug shop, but Taeju refuses once again. He has no interest in breaking trust, so Han-seo-wook throws out his final offer to buy the formula outright for 5 billion won. The greedy CEO clearly thinks money solves everything, but our hero responds with a sour face, telling him he is not selling it for cheap. The villain finally loses his patience and delivers one last threat, warning that he won't be living peacefully in Jiren. Taeju stays totally cool, saying he can easily take care of himself before kicking him out empty-handed. Now the corrupt is absolutely furious, his polite mask completely slipping away. Once he leaves, he orders his dogs to carry out their plan. By twilight hour, Boy returns to old man Hong Pyo holding tons of heavy shopping bags, which honestly proves he would be a total gentleman carrying his girls' shopping bags too. When Hong Pyo asks about them, Taeju explains he bought clothes for the kids as a thank you gift. The old man gladly takes the bags and says he will never forget this kindness, promising to work even harder. From now on, Taeju is also incredibly grateful for all the immense effort he has put in, from buying the building to managing the construction. Soon after, our hero gets down to business and accepts the proposal the old man mentioned earlier. Meeting the hostile CEO of Yage Pharmacy helped make up his mind, and now he wants to launch a pharmaceutical company just as Hong Pyo suggested. He hopes the old man will help him run it because he cannot do all this alone. Hong Pyo happily accepts, and just like that, they take a massive step forward. For now, Taeju leaves the building's final touches to Hong Pyo, since he needs to be away for a bit. Before the company officially launches, our hero plans to focus entirely on developing new drugs. The chaos boundless poison spirit art is a secret martial art created by the strongest expert in Murim, the great Dang Gunak. It combines the 5 elements Kai Gong and consists of 10 stages. After reaching the 10th stage, one must awaken the poison spirit through enlightenment. Anyone who manages to awaken this power can unleash the legendary Rain of Myriad Flowers technique. The same skill Dang Gunak used to melt the heavenly demon. A strike like that is top tier. We are talking legendary knowledge. Meanwhile, back in the real world, our main character is facing a completely different crisis. He is locked in a fierce battle against an absolute beast of a monster. Channeling his energy, he leaps forward, lands right on the beast, and drives supercharged blade deep into the monster, finishing things in seconds. Right now, he is currently sitting at the 3rd stage of his unique poison art. Somewhere near a first-class warrior, still pretty weak in the grand scheme. But at least he is not getting completely folded in fights on a daily basis. Having Gunak's memories is like having a cheat code guide for his training. He only needs to absorb rare poisons, which is exactly why he is in this forest. Hunting demonic beasts and farming their toxic essence is his current grind. Stripping a poison-clawed lynx, he extracts a massive venom sac from the creature's body. To his eyes, this gross little organ is basically a bag of gold. After downing a quick energy drink to recover, he targets his next demonic monster prey. The spore poison elk is a strange, deer-like creature with dual humps. It resembles a camel, but do not let its peaceful nature fool you at all. Those humps are literal walking bombs packed with lethal spores. Once triggered, the toxic cloud will easily melt straight through heavy military-grade gas filters. Yet the deadly mist falls beautifully, lovely. It honestly looks like a quiet and beautiful purple snowfall. While anyone else would run, our guy walks right into the mist. To him, this toxic storm is just a delicious, high-value meal he cannot miss. He concentrates the swirling toxic Kai into a small, condensed sphere. It is basically his own glowing anime energy ball of highly condensed toxic destruction. Without wasting a second, he pulls the concentrated energy into his body. Activating his poison spirit art, he begins meditating to fully convert the toxic energy. It is painful, but his deep understanding of poisons makes it work. Creating an antidote for this later on will be an absolute walk in the park. Modern Earth actually has a far wider variety of toxins than Murim. This gives him a truly massive edge, and he vows to never be weak again. Fueled by the dense energy of the elk, a breakthrough finally triggers. He successfully steps into the 4th stage, proving his rapid growth is accelerating fast. Things are moving fast, but it is time to head back now. He has been away from Old Man Bike's little apothecary shop for far too long. A strange, bad feeling starts to settle deep in his gut. Upon returning to the shop, he greets Old Man Bike like he just got back from a long vacation. But seeing all the cleared shelves, he realizes business has been absolutely booming. The old man looks incredibly stressed, mentioning that he tried calling him repeatedly. Our boy just casually shrugs it off, explaining his phone was completely turned off during training. He says his phone was dead because he was busy creating and testing antidotes. He is exactly the type of guy to vanish completely without saying a single word. He looks around the room and wonders why everyone looks so completely terrified. It looks like a horror movie, until Han Pyong-pyo steps forward to deliver some heavy news. He drops the bad news that the medical sales suppliers have refused to deliver any more stock, even taking back the batches they already sent. Plus, the Autonomy Committee's drug licensing division suddenly reached out to them, demanding a complete list of ingredients to investigate claims of toxic side effects from the antidote. Taeju instantly suspects that the squinty-eyed executive is behind everything. The old man is not totally sure, but he admits this is exactly the kind of move Han-suk usually pulls, and the worst part is that he holds a high seat on that very autonomy committee. If they refuse to turn over their recipe, things will spiral and trigger a total ban on all sales. He listens in silence, realizing this is only the opening play of Han-suk's dirty game, which is honestly completely expected from a guy like him. Before things go south, he decides it is much better to strike first instead of waiting to get trapped. Joe Heine declares that if they are going to throw threats around, then those warnings need to pack a real punch. Then he tells the old man that since they claim their cure has bad side effects, they should just stop selling it entirely and shut down the shop for now. Oh, he absolutely has a master plan cooking in his mind. Talk about terrible timing. While the universe plots his downfall, our boy is other side. He is busy celebrating the brand new antidote he successfully made from the spore elk. One bite and pure bliss hits him right in the soul, since this meat is renowned as the finest delicacy in the empire. Since removing the poison is impossible, any wild carcass found by chance gets instantly claimed by the emperor himself. No one else ever gets a taste. That is why Taeju finds his decision hilarious. Out of all the cures he could have developed, he ended up choosing the one thing that doubles his royal food loot. At first, his goal was simple. He just wanted to save ordinary people from the lethal elk venom during the beast wave. But the instant he tastes the result, his whole mindset completely drifts. This is not merely medicine anymore. It is something people will instantly get addicted to. Looking at everyone's happy faces, another idea cooks up in his head. Maybe this is the perfect chance to start an elk meat business too. If he can somehow secure a supply deal with the emperor, who is totally obsessed with this meat, he might get a rare opportunity to witness the ruler's legendary grandmaster level swordsmanship. He is already building solid business model and a personal training routine all at once, while he is busy daydreaming. The old man clears his throat, thanking him for serving a dish this delicious. He admits he never expected the new formula to turn into the terrifying elk antidote, proving once again that Taeju is just built differently. Every time onlookers think they have finally found his limit, this guy simply adds another floor. Still, Hanpyo cannot help asking if it is really wise to keep the pharmacy closed and sit around doing nothing. Taeju simply tells him to trust the plan and wait. The second their cure vanishes from the market, they will see exactly who gets desperate first. As the days pass, heroes begin crowding outside Bake's drugstore. Yi-soon is right there with them, and by the fifth day, he is completely stunned to see the shop still shut down. He only has a few bottles left, and once they run dry, he is basically cooked. Without his antidote, he is right back to being completely useless on the battlefield. Then he overhears a guy spreading some highly suspicious rumor. Supposedly, this antidote has some incredibly dangerous side effects. The Autonomous Committee demanded the formula immediately, putting on massive pressure. Because of all that intense pressure, Homp Yu had to shut down his entire shop. This nasty rumor spreads like wildfire because bad news travels so fast. People nearby buy into it instantly, making Ji-soon feel seriously uneasy. He already took the medicine himself and experienced absolutely zero negative side effects. Hearing this garbage makes his blood boil because the math is not mathing. The second he raises his arm to grab the guy running his mouth, another handsome fighter steps in and blocks him with a heavy weapon. Talk about a dramatic entrance, because this shady newcomer has some insane aura. Why do the bad guys always look like absolute supermodels? This man, Jeong Hak, is the captain of the local vigilante squad. Because of his close ties to Uij Pharmacy, he sides with them immediately. He loudly announces that the shop must stay closed for ingredient testing. That is the official decision of the standing committee, apparently. He tells everyone to disperse and go home. This warning only makes Ji-soon snap, shouting that he personally took part. That he took those clinical trials himself and is perfectly fine. He asks a question. How are they supposed to hunt now? Are they expected to crawl back into those completely useless insect suits and pretend that this is a real solution? Hearing this, the other hunters start shouting in agreement as well. One angry voice suddenly turns into 10, and then 10 quickly turns into a mob. Releasing an oppressive aura, he asks when Trash started talking back. He warns them one final time to pack up and leave before he draws his sword. Even though Ji-soon is shaking, he refuses to back down. The captain loses all patience and draws his blade without hesitating. And just like that, Ji-soon's courage completely evaporates because let's face the harsh truth. He is not built for this, so he runs away instantly. Captain Jeong-hak clicks his tongue, thoroughly fed up with dealing with weaklings. He does not care about medicine sales, but there is something else that bothers him. Han-seok playing dirty games with the committee does not sit well. He plans to handle that very soon, and speaking of the devil, look who is already here. Han-seok is right there, watching everything unfold from inside his car. He calls his clerk, acting totally surprised they dragged Master Jeong-hak in. The clerk calmly replies that as long as they remain on the exact same side of things, they hold the majority power and absolutely nobody can stand against them. Usually, Jeong-hak just claims it is for his nation and ignores them. He stays out of it unless boundaries are crossed. Hearing this, Han-seok completely relaxes now and laughs, promising a massive reward very soon. Meanwhile, Taeju finally appears, stepping right up to Commander Jin Hong. He gets straight to the point, offering to supply 1 million bottles directly to the Jirisan Demonic Beast Defense Corps at 50,000 won each, bringing the grand total to 50 billion. Hearing this massive number, his expression sharpens, giving off an intense glare that makes Taeju wonder if he messed up. Maybe sticking to the standard price offended him. An officer leans in close. He whispers that the commander is just excited, even though he looks completely terrifying. Like he is about to transform into a literal demon. Without losing a single second, the commander orders half the amount transferred right away as a down payment. But right as things move forward, Taeju stops him to mention one more detail. There is another item in this deal. He plans to launch a new company soon. So he already developed another product, instead of pulling out some potion. He reveals cuts of meat that look incredibly mouth-watering at first glance. He explains this was prepared especially for the general commander himself. The commander looks pretty disappointed, since he fully expected some rare medicine. He even mentions he is avoiding meat lately for health reasons, but Taeju casually suggests passing it to the emperor instead, since it is actually the legendary poisonous elk that would surely please the emperor. An officer nearby is absolutely stunned, asking if this is the mythical meat with overflowing juices. Tasting like absolute heaven, our boy just nods like it is zero big deal. The commander suddenly cuts in, declaring that Taeju is a highly unique man who would be a perfect fit for the military. Then he asks if he has ever considered enlisting. Honestly, who wouldn't laugh at that, because this guy practically grew up in a military household. Of course he has thought about it. Totally pointless to ask now. Meanwhile, the Jirisan Medical Corps remains stationed way out on the outskirts of the Shaman Empire, and their daily job is to suppress demonic beast waves while keeping their numbers down. From the very beginning, the commander hated being assigned here. Honestly, who could blame him? If he successfully blocks the wave, he merely breaks even in their eyes. But if he fails, all the blame falls directly on him. Yet right now, for the first time, a massive opportunity lands straight in his lap. His adjutant walks inside to report that the down payment has cleared smoothly, and all orders have been fully executed, just as the commander figured. Taeju's sudden offer is tied to his ongoing clash with the Pharmacy Association. Run by Jo Hun-seok, the adjutant adds that tomorrow's papers will publish an exclusive scoop covering the massive antidote deal and the poisoned deer hunt. Hearing this, the commander praises his effort, telling him to keep a close eye on Taeju while supporting him in any way possible. He even takes a quiet moment to thank his adjutant for sticking by a powerless commander like him for so long. The emotional line hits deep, and the emotional adjutant tears up, deeply grateful his efforts are finally recognized. The commander pulls him into a warm embrace, saying they must seize this golden opportunity and climb their way straight to the imperial family, the adjutant still feeling a bit dazed simply nods and takes his leave. Meanwhile, the commander stays behind, shouting long live Taeju, completely convinced he just found his ticket to the top. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of Garai City, Kim Taeju has already built a literal castle with his hard-earned cash. Talk about insanely fast progress. Go Hanpyo informs him that setting up the company is going incredibly smoothly. And once he picks a name, everything else will fall right into place. Quickly, Taeju appreciates the effort and scans the newspaper, realizing the contract with the military has officially gone through. Chun Hyung basically sets the stage for him without even being asked, leaking the deal to the press as an exclusive scoop along with their brand new drug development. With that move alone, the leverage completely shifts to his side. Taeju then asks Hanpyo if the loan was paid off using that initial down payment. The old man confirms that the 25 billion won landed safely, and he handled everything immediately. He adds that the bank was so incredibly arrogant that he cut all ties with them and closed his accounts without hesitation. Taeju nods and tells him to use the leftover funds to support their orphanage. After thinking it over, Taeju knows he cannot run a massive company completely alone without a reliable partner, so he offers the old man a spot as his co-owner, which leaves him completely stunned. The old man protests, saying he only ran a small pharmacy and cannot help much, but Taeju immediately shuts down that doubt and explains that while he can easily craft the medicine, he has absolutely no clue how to market and sell it. He truly cannot run this business without him. After hearing those words, Hanpyo finally agrees but suggests a 90-10 share split. Taeju flatly refuses, setting it at 70-30 instead. The company would not even exist without the old man managing the operations, with no real way to argue. Hanpyo appreciates the generosity but still refuses to handle daily operations. Instead, he recommends someone far more qualified for the active role. A brilliant talent from the orphanage named Baek. She is the brightest of all the kids, and he can call her over right away. For 20 long years, the old man raised children who eventually climbed into massive positions of power, making his personal network incredibly his greatest weapon. Honestly, Taeju hit the absolute jackpot partnering with this guy. He happily agrees to bring in Baek to run things, and the two men officially shake hands on their new business venture. Now it is time for a proper name. Taeju has a perfect idea. He combines the T from his name and the Han from Hanpyo, creating Taehinpyo. The old man is seriously impressed, calling the name absolutely brilliant. He also reveals he already gathered a group of strong Awakens and adapters from the orphanage, since that absolute trash Han Seok only understands raw force. Hanpyo wants them to act as personal bodyguards for Taeju, but Taeju politely declines, telling him to deploy them to protect the orphanage. Instead, that selfless answer leaves Hanpyo deeply puzzled by his insane level of confidence. He has no crest on his face, meaning he is not an Awakener. At best, he is a standard adapter, so maybe this fearless attitude comes from his military background. Hanpyo really has no clue that he is standing right next to a literal walking cheat code. He keeps staring so intently that Taeju notices and asks if there is still some doubt between them. The old man quickly denies it, saying that if he cannot trust him, then who else is left? Taeju then asks him to bring those kids over so he can evaluate their skills, while also testing out his brand new poison spore deer antidote. Taeju plans to go on a little mountain hunt, and soon they all set off. Taeju struts ahead like he owns the entire zone. The young Awakeners are immediately blown away by his fox leather coat, worth a massive 4 billion won. His gear is straight up legendary, but still no face crest. None at all. If he really worked as a porter, he is either a civilian or an adapter. From here on, the territory gets pretty dangerous, so a handsome guy named Baek Hyun steps up to warn Taeju that dangerous magical beasts will appear soon, insisting that he will take the lead. After all, his father strictly ordered him to protect Taeju. Taeju gives him a cold side eye and corrects him, saying he should call him Hyun Nam. Hyun awkwardly repeats it as Hyun Nim and then asks him to stay behind. he explains that even though the coat has great defensive stats, it will still restrict his movement during combat, since he is in Awakena. He believes he can handle this fight. Taeju just stares back with a deadpan look, which instantly makes Hyun apologize in case he offended him, but Taeju says he is used to it, understanding that the kid is just worried since he is an Awakena. Still, he says they can discuss this later, right after dealing with what is coming first. Then, as he slips his hand into his coat, Hyun suddenly spots a pack of storm weasels rushing straight toward them. Wait for it, now we get to see if he is actually as strong as he claims. The kids get ready to fight, but total panic kicks in when the creatures do not even flinch at their strikes, completely ignoring their chaotic barrage of attacks. Meanwhile, they completely miss the cheat code, the monster standing right beside them. Taeju calmly reaches in and pulls out iron nails and sends them flying, raining down on the beasts like a black waterfall. Hyun's jaw drops right on the spot. These monsters always move in packs, and a user-rank fighter like him could not even scratch them before, yet here they are wiped out by a single man. Even after pulling off that clean wipe, Taeju does not look happy at all. He did not even get the chance to draw his dagger, the one he usually retrieves. He avoids going all out since hurting those kids would have made things messy with Hong Yo. Instead, he had to rely on his torrential pear blossom spikes and iron pellets, which are now gone for good. Moments like this make him crave the seventh stage of poison spirit art even more. Chang Yeochin snaps him out of his thoughts and asks something that has been bugging him. He heard masters can hide their face crests, so he wonders if Taeju might secretly be a master. Taeju shuts that down, immediately saying he is definitely not an Awakener. Whatever he is, he will be taking the lid from here. Chang Yeochin stays confused, but Taeju is already moving ahead like the conversation never happened. As they move deeper, they come across a poison spore deer just chilling casually, eating like it owns the place. It does not even bother reacting because it knows normal humans cannot touch it thanks to those toxic spores. Unluckily for the beast, Taeju is basically its absolute worst nightmare. Taeju tells everyone to drink the antidote because they are taking that thing down. The team hesitates. This new antidote is still in clinical trials. Trusting it feels like a massive gamble, but Chang Han decides to trust. He drinks it anyway and steps forward, fully ready to engage. He orders the crew to back him up with mana guns in case things go bad. Suddenly, the charging deer lets out a piercing, incredibly loud screech. Chang Han completely ignores it, flashing past the monster in one clean sweep. He slices its head clean off in an instant, but the battle is not over. Suddenly, one of the girls screams at the top of her lungs that it is exploding. Right on cue, the deer bursts, releasing a massive cloud of toxic spores. The clearing turns ethereal as that toxic green mist spreads everywhere. Taeju watches the scene unfold, looking genuinely relieved as his antidote completely exceeds his expectations. The rest of the group slowly realizes they are totally fine. They are standing under a literal rain of poison with no side effects. The panic instantly flips to pure hype, making the whole group erupt in cheers. Taeju pulls their attention back, asking if they finally believe his words now. He explains that this deer is actually all bark and no real bite. Once neutralized, the scary monster is nothing more than a weak target. The blonde guy quickly apologizes for doubting him, while the girl acts smug. With that settled, Taeju keeps the hunt going, showing them how to butcher it. He makes it clear that once this antidote hits the market, the species is finished. We then cut over to the Marina Company office where Box's daughter works. Si-hyun serves as a capable manager in the strategic planning department. Her director, a creepy old man wearing a very forced artificial grin, walks up to her desk and starts asking all kinds of questions. He suddenly brings up Box's orphanage and mentions Hong Pyot being the director. This immediately puts her on edge. She cautiously confirms that Beek is her father, quietly wondering why this guy is digging into her family history. That creepy grin stays on his face as he tells her to drop her projects. Instead, he wants her to head down to Guri City for a small task. The way he says it makes it obvious that there is nothing small about it. Whatever he is planning is definitely dirty business. Yui looks at him, confused, and asks why he is suddenly bringing up this strange request. He casually pulls out a newspaper and shows her the latest headline. Hong Bio secured a military contract by developing a breakthrough antidote. That is when his real intentions come out and he tells her straight up to go to Guri to secure the formula of that antidote. He reminds her that he serves the boss, promising her a massive promotion. Right then, her phone rings with a call from her father, Box himself. She asks the half-bald manager for permission before taking the call. They speak quietly for a moment, and she ends it with a small smile. The bald guy immediately asks if she has made her decision yet. She says yes without hesitation, throwing her employee ID card right at him. She proudly announces that she is quitting this garbage company on the spot. She was already annoyed by how he looks down on others despite being short. But asking her to betray her own father, that is where she draws the line. She walks away without ever looking back, leaving the angry little guy fuming and throwing a massive tantrum, calling her crazy and practically stomping his feet in rage. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is at Taeju's new building, cleaning up. After a long, exhausting day of work, he thanks them all for their incredible effort and tells them to go home. He has got the rest, but Chang-hyun keeps whining about security until Taeju cuts him off. Does he really think he still needs that protection? Instead, he orders him to go guard the orphanage kids and the old boss. Chang-hyun gets the hint and tells everyone to prepare to leave immediately. Deep down, Taeju knows the orphanage is safe. Nobody wants to trigger massive public outrage by targeting a place like that, yet he knows there are always sick, twisted people who would go that far anyway. That is exactly why he needs these capable kids around. Now, with the new company starting to slowly take some real shape, they are finally bringing in people to process the raw antidote ingredients. Things are actually moving forward. He only wanted a simple, quiet life to make some decent money. But somehow things keep spiraling into something way bigger than expected. Still, earning good money is never a bad thing, especially since it bought him this. After an exhausting day of work, he heads back to his huge apartment and collapses onto his comfortable bed, except this time he is completely and utterly alone. No girl beside him, he just lies there remembering how he should be dead. A forgotten discard. Instead, he is here, alive and stronger than ever before. All because his stepmother pushed him to his death, only for him to unlock this power. But high power has a steep price. It always drags massive trouble. Right outside his building, a group of Giri's thugs is waiting. They are acting on Hansuk's orders, and that bastard simply refuses to ever let things go. One guy, covered in piercings, is already complaining that if it were not for Hansuk, he would have just snatched Taeju and taken the formula for himself. The squad sneaks right past security and quietly makes their way upstairs. Standing right outside Taeju's door, they finalize their little plan. They are going to inject him with a heavy drug, knock him completely out and carry him away like trash. Simple, clean, and incredibly stupid because they picked the absolute wrong target. The moment that sturdy guy steps forward and tries to inject him, Taeju calmly sits up and locks the man's arm midair. The boss orders him to move, but the guy cannot even budge. It is like his arm completely disconnected from his body. Then, in a flash, Taeju vanishes from sight, snatches the syringe, and reappears directly behind him. Now standing right amidst the group, Thor starts sweating watching him casually hold the drug and talk like nothing happened. But what comes next completely throws him off. Taeju hates needles, so instead of actually using it normally, he just pops the cap and drinks it down. Crazy, right? He literally downs the drug, and just like that, the effects hit his system almost instantly, as if it only fuels his strength instead of slowing him down. Meanwhile, rumors spread of a gang in Giri's slums dealing drugs that authorities cannot stop, meaning some powerful shadow figure higher up is clearly backing them. Now that exact same drug is sitting right in front of Taeju for a 4-star poison. Master like him handling this garbage is nothing. He even starts extracting the he draws the poison straight from the bodies of the gang members, and one by one they collapse as it leaves their veins. Now only the boss remains. Taeju looks straight at him, demanding to know who ordered this mess. The leader is clearly terrified, but he still refuses to speak the mastermind's name, so Taeju does not waste any time. He yanks the poison from his body as well, leaving him completely limp like a puppet with its strings cut. By morning, Jong-hak sits inside his car with his assistant. They already got the report from Taeju about the drug gang that invaded his place to kidnap him. The assistant confirms they tracked down the mastermind, the notorious closed-eye guy, and secured absolute proof. This is their perfect chance to arrest him and prove their group is legit. Yuri just looks utterly disappointed. To him, if that blind bastard was going to strike, he should have actually succeeded. Taeju is still just a nobody. To him, a simple newcomer, but Hong Pyo is a different story. Someone far too respected to look past. The quickest play right now is arresting that blind schemer and forcing a settlement, but knowing how slippery he is, he won't fold easily. They finally arrive at Taeju's workshop where the captives are bound. Instead of keeping quiet, those idiots are already throwing fits, acting wild because they need another fix. Desperate drug addicts completely losing control. Hong Pyo steps up to greet the handsome nobleman, but he walks right past him like he's thin air. Without even pausing, he draws his sword to execute the boss on the spot, calmly declaring that by the absolute authority of His Majesty, he will end him. No one even knows who actually gave him that order, but he is clearly not here to talk. Just as the steel falls, Taeju lunges forward, throwing a concealed weapon that blocks the strike mid-swing. The clash stops everything cold. Taeju then brings up a video as proof, showing that the closed-eye guy is the real mastermind behind this. He asks why he is trying to kill the boss when the truth is already out. Suddenly, he realizes something. Jong-hak knew everything. His expression hardens instantly and he stares him down, demanding his name. Taeju calmly introduces himself as the same porter they ignored before, and also the guy who developed the antidote. As the tension climbs, purple sparks begin crackling from Jong-hak's frame like he is about to transform. At any second, he warns Taeju that here in jury, his word is law. He gives him one final offer: behead these four and walk away clean. But Taeju does not hesitate, not a chance. The next second, Jong-hak lunges forward with his sword. Taeju reacts instantly, throwing out his hidden daggers to counter. That is when Jong-hak puts it together and realizes that Taeju is the shadow who captured all those armed addicts. He admits it is somewhat impressive. Taeju left a scratch on his hand, but crossing a master twice is a crime that only ends in execution. Taeju stands firm, firing another wave of flying steel, but Jong-hak deflects them without any trouble. The pressure builds as they prepare for another brutal clash, the fight about to explode. Suddenly, a helicopter roars overhead. Jin Young's elite squad is here. They drop straight from the sky, instantly shutting the entire clash down completely. Jong-hak's face contorts. He instantly spots the bearded officer stepping onto the field. He sees this as military meddling in local affairs. The bearded officer stays calm. He announces he is not here as a soldier, but just as Jin Young. Then he turns to our guy, asking if he is hurt. Our hero quietly shakes his head. He keeps his cool, refusing to cause a scene in front of these elite powerhouses. Right then, those funny-looking officers step in, demanding to know who planned it. They are pushing to wrap things up quickly. After all, these three men are formidable. These are three master-ranked military officers, and they are not playing around today. No one touches the man who supplies their vital antidotes. That is final. They even promise to assign elite off-duty soldiers as his personal bodyguard detail. Overnight, our guy gets complete VIP status. Watching from afar, Jong-hak fumes. He watches silently, his mind racing as he starts putting the pieces together. Could this connection come through Taeju's father's powerful network? A backing this massive does not just appear. Talk about having friends in high places. Combined with heavy military authority, this is a force you cannot easily challenge. He quickly realizes these are not people you can easily reason with. So despite his boiling anger, he has no choice but to back down for now. Taking this public humiliation lying down, not a chance for someone like him. A vow is made to return and pay back this disgrace with heavy interest. Just as he turns to leave, the bearded commander throws out a sharp taunt. Jong-hak is asked if he is running away already. He shoots back coldly. Claiming he is far too busy, he snaps back coldly at the interference. Jin Young refuses to let that slide and immediately fires back with a cold response. If he were truly busy, he would have cleaned up the Gyrim trash long ago. Sending backup troops is even offered if his vigilante group fails to handle the job. This direct insult completely shatters his pride, and he rejects the help instantly. Snapping, he orders his men to drag the captured suspects back to their base. But the bearded commander steps forward once more, completely blocking their path. Those captive drug dealers are coming with him for kidnapping his close friend. At this point, Jong Hak's temper explodes, his veins visibly throbbing with pure rage. This action is called a direct violation of the imperial decree. Jin Young has had enough, his raw crimson aura suddenly explodes. Are they equals just because both of them happen to hold master-level ranks? Pushing further, he asks what the Emperor would even do if he executed him right here. This guy is absolutely savage, and you can feel the entire atmosphere freeze. For a split second, even the proud Jong Hak flinches, sweat dripping down his face. Attempting to project his own aura, he gets instantly cut off and blocked. They surround him completely, locking him down before he can even lift a finger. The pressure in the air is suffocating, and he quickly raids the room. Realizing he is outmatched, he barks an order for his men to retreat to the cars. With that, he reluctantly retreats. Once they vanish, our guy lets out a breath. Both of them thank Jin Young for the incredibly clutch rescue at the perfect time. It turns out Hong Pyo made the distress call when everything went south. Drop them cleanly, keep full control so those drug addicts cannot slip away. Hearing this, the bearded man assures Taeju that he will personally handle those thugs. He will also hunt down whoever runs the drug operation. He makes it clear they cannot risk disrupting the antidote production. Since their core safety depends on it, they must finish this quickly. So Taeju does not have to deal with Jeongguk again. Meanwhile, Taeju is lost in thought, replaying everything. He remembers with absolute clarity that Jeongguk was hit by a 4-star poison dagger, yet he showed no suffering until the final moment. That thought lingers. He starts to wonder. What would have happened if the bearded man had not stepped in? Would he have actually won? That single question pushes him to a clear conclusion. He must get stronger. Next time he cannot rely on someone else to save him. Soon, a military helicopter descends to take away the captured drug addicts. The chaos seems to be ending, but just like that, the story takes a sudden, dark turn. Jeongguk is shown driving away in his car. At first, everything looks completely normal. Then the scar on his hand starts to bother him. Slowly, his dark veins begin to swell from that exact spot. The poison finally starts showing its effect. Those veins spread across his entire arm and crawl all the way up to his face. Suddenly, an unbearable pain strikes him. The kind that makes even a seasoned killer struggle to stay composed. Make no mistake, that poison was deadly serious. Inside the rising helicopter, the boss of those drug addicts starts begging and says he will confess everything. He thinks this is his last chance. The bearded man cuts him off calmly. He already knows everything and casually orders his subordinates to take care of them, so his main soldier immediately starts throwing them out of the helicopter one by one while they beg for their lives. Talk about taking out the trash. Before wrapping things up, the bearded man also tells him to deal with Hanseop. Then he orders the other two soldiers to deploy forces at Tihungbyo. He plans to use this situation to build a solid connection with Taeju. Meanwhile, Sion is traveling when Chung-hun calls her and drops a bombshell, saying Taeju went incredibly far for the orphanage. He tells her that Taeju donated billions and even created the antidote for the spore deer. This leaves her completely stunned. She can barely even process the news. By the time she reaches the orphanage, her father welcomes her warmly. She notices he is cooking a huge meal for everyone. When she asks, he casually tells her it is spore poison water deer and they are having a feast. That simple line hits her hard, leaving her fully shocked because Chung-hun was right all along. He then leads her straight over to Taeju, who is already there waiting for her. The moment she sees him, the whole scene flips as Taeju is busy serving mouthwatering curry to the kids with a warm expression. Honestly, he looks like he would make a perfect father someday, whether with Soyo or not. Her father introduces her properly, and Taeju immediately recognizes her from before. She smiles brightly and admits she was really rude to him back then. And now she is really looking forward to working with him in the future. She promises to pour her heart into Tihungbyo, but our main guy. Romantic signals fly right over his head, but then Major Minsu arrives. He salutes Taeju with his soldiers, announcing they are the new security force. The old man offers some polite thanks but still worries about space. The major calmly smiles and reassures him they can make do anywhere. They brought their own field camping gear to avoid causing any trouble. When they shake hands, Taeju casually invites the whole squad for soup. Talk about perfect timing, the major immediately barks out a sudden order. His soldiers start unpacking gear and prepping to eat like it is a combat mission. Watching the busy crowd fill the yard with warmth and actual life. Taeju smiles. He realizes he is finally not alone anymore in this world. Meanwhile, the corrupt Hyun-suk is finally dragged in and arrested. His public downfall is incredibly messy. He admits to every single charge. With a tight, miserable look, he walks out without a shred of dignity. But inside, he is seething because his criminal cleanup crew went completely silent. And to make matters worse, he just found out that Taeju is still breathing. Having zero options left, he plans to hide out until the heat dies down. He wants to wait in the shadows before planning his comeback, or so he thinks. As he drives down a pitch-black, empty highway, he spots a dark motorcycle tailing him, and this is no random driver. The biker suddenly accelerates, pulls up close, and shatters his car window. Glass flies everywhere as the attacker strikes him before he can even blink. Bleeding and panicked, Hyun-suk loses control and the vehicle violently swerves. It hurtles straight over the edge and crashes toward a deep, muddy lake. The impact flings him into the freezing water while his car sinks to the bottom. The silent biker watches the water settle, verifying the kill. He pulls out his phone to report back to the master behind the curtain. The job is done. Just like that, a major threat is permanently erased. Meanwhile, a heavily injured Jong-hak is rushed straight into the hospital emergency room. He is writhing in agony, his entire nervous system screaming in pain. His followers hurry in with a legendary golden elixir forged in sacred flames. He immediately shoves the pill down his throat without a second thought. A brief warmth washes over him, giving him a false sense of relief. But immediately after, an incredibly violent pressure slams straight into his chest. The sudden agony turns his eyes bloodshot, and dark blood coughs from his mouth. He drops to the ground, entirely paralyzed and unable to move. With his final breath, he desperately curses Taeju for this horrific nightmare. Poisoning a top master-rank fighter like this is absolutely unheard of. Meanwhile, with Seo Hyun on board, the business is finally coming together. But they still face one massive roadblock: they need more than one drug. To solve this problem, Taeju packs his bags and journeys to Jurisan Forest. He plans to hunt a giant moon bear and harvest its rare gallbladder. This is also the perfect chance to collect rare toxins for his training. He only recently reached stage 4 of his poison cultivation. But the sheer volume of spore poison he absorbed earlier was truly immense. Taeju is already on the verge of breaking through. Stage 5 is close. He is speedrunning growth while moving deeper into the forest, spotting a tree. It is a poison sap tree. The bark secretes toxic venom. This keeps the hungry insects away. Honestly, poison always finds a way to be useful. And yes, Taeju actually takes a bite of the bark anyway. He is slowly turning himself into a walking toxin factory. Next up, a toad. Its venom is packed in its blue belly, acting as a powerful anesthetic. No hesitation, he grabs the creature and stuffs it in his bag. He is basically collecting venomous beasts now, just like Pokémon. A crawling centipede is next. He lets it crawl right over his hand. He studies it calmly. There is some strange satisfaction in this madness. You have to admit, his obsession with poison is getting pretty creepy. But while he is distracted playing with his toxic collection, trouble arrives. The giant moon bear finally arrives, right on schedule. It shows up early, hunting him directly. Taeju immediately tests it. He throws his blades. The bear blocks the attack instantly. It unleashes a massive roar that literally makes the entire forest floor shake. Using his gale step, Taeju flashes right behind the beast and throws his knives. They strike deep into its back, but the creature barely even registers the attack. It stands tall, the knives simply clatter to the ground. Refusing to back down, Taeju prepares his strongest moves. He combines Phantom Mirage steps with a deadly blood seal poison palm. Nothing works. This beast is on an entirely different level. A stage 4 cultivator cannot beat this thing. He needs more power now. No time to waste. Taeju pulls out the captured toad from earlier. He crushes the live toad straight into his mouth, swallowing it whole. The raw venom explodes inside, surging violently through his body. His energy spikes, this is pushing his body to the absolute limit. Just like that, he breaks through to the fifth stage of the poison art. Now the game changes, he summons the deadly blood butterflies. Only a stage 5 master can utilize this lethal technique. He controls their flight path, guiding them freely through the air. He directs the swarm straight into the bear's eyes, direct hit. They tear through the weak points, the massive beast finally falters. It collapses heavily, bleeding out from the devastating strike. Victory. Taeju accomplished both goals, he secured a breakthrough and his prize. He approaches the fallen beast and extracts its highly valuable gallbladder. The organ is overflowing with toxic energy, meaning he must handle it carefully. Wrapping the harvest in his own kai, he secures it safely for the return trip. Now we wait to see what kind of insane elixir he brews up next. Get ready,